All right, folks, here we are today, our first radio program on AM radio. It's March 20th, first day of spring, and we're going to get fired up here in about 3 minutes. It's going to go live, so see how it goes. First program.
That means even if you pay first class fares, you are not going to get a hot meal.
What am I going to say?
Then you will find
I've got no idea what I'm going to talk about.
British Airways has already canceled hundreds of flights. For news anytime, go
That's
to
okay, Cal. I'm going to fill in for me if I freak out.
is CNN Radio.
Yep, that's a bluegrass song.
This is my dad's Mercedes.
I want to set that antenna on fire.
I need the one BB my graduation present. I'll act surprised.
Of all the things you hand down to your children,
It's weird. I don't get nervous at all on TV.
Pre-owned Mercedes-Benz.
I'm a little bit nervous now.
Every certified pre-owned vehicles undergoes a rigorous inspection by
Like an unknown.
technicians to ensure it meets the uncompromising standards of Mercedes-Benz.
Well, if Pillsbury Doughboy can do it, I know I can.
Automobile, those standards are indeed high.
2,587 days.
Giddy up.
She's all mine.
You let me know when you want it. Good morning, Hanover. This is True Bread. My name is Todd Kallenbach, and this is my first live program here down at WHAN. Very thankful for the opportunity to be here. Got a lot of great help here at the station, and it's a great access here for us at True Bread. It's a big day for the program, for myself. True Bread is a program that is going to be focusing on current world events as well as biblical doctrine. Maybe some interesting things you haven't heard yet, been made aware of, but I have been doing True Bread now for about 5 years. We're on Comcast, 10 on 95 in the morning, 7:30 to 8, and then we also have a live program on Comcast 6 times a year, trying to branch out into AM radio, and also would like to, if you want to go ahead and call, we'll take phone calls here this morning as well. 798-1010 is the phone number, 798-1010. The program normally is divided into 2 sections. The first part of the program is usually looking at current world events, news, things like that, and the second part is going to be biblical doctrine. And if you do me a favor, appreciate if you could get out some paper and a pen and write down your questions you may have. If I say something that spurs your thoughts, or also I'm going to be mentioning some things here today that you may want to jot down and investigate later. First day of spring here finally, and I've always thought that America is the best country on the planet to live in, and Virginia is the best state in the country to live in, and Ashland's the center of the universe. We all know that, right? And good to be here, and it's beautiful outside, and we all love spring in Virginia. I could actually walk outside without your coat on, but it's a little cold this morning, but it's beautiful here. It's God's country, we all know that. And Let's just give a round of applause to the Randolph-Macon Yellow Jackets, right? NCAA top four, Final Four. Great job, guys. Put up a good fight last night. We're all proud of you. Even though I'm a Hokie, I still like the Randolph-Macon right up the street here. So our home team guys did us all proud. We appreciate that. So good job on that. Let's just go ahead and get started right with the program. It's going to be a little bit different. I get the name True Bread, obviously from Scripture. If you want to look at John 6:32, that's where the name comes from. That we get the true bread right from Scripture, and we'll definitely be looking at that as the program goes on. Right now, I've got 13 programs lined up, and I'm going to hope to continue that right on through the year, and maybe expand out from that as well. I do have a website. If you want to jot this down, it's truebread.us. truebread.us. You can find all of our, normally what we do Bible studies at home, and they're videotaped and promptly put onto the internet, and they're all there, either through Google Video, YouTube, or Blip TV. But that's the central focus for True Bread, where you can access the information. I guess I should say a little bit about myself. I found the radio station because I kept flying around the antenna out here. I work in the airport as a pilot, and I'm like, I got to figure out where this place is at. So here I am. I finally figured it out. I've lived in Virginia most of my life, right? I guess since about 4 or 5 years old, off and on. Grew up in the military, or not myself, but my family, and we wound up in Virginia Beach, Elizabeth City. Then we made our way to lovely and talented Richmond, Virginia, and here we are. Went to school in Richmond, went to Virginia Tech, then went to flight school, and worked my way back here, and this is home now. I live in Mechanicsville, right down the street. So, 47 years old. I know that's almost dead, right? Calvin says no, so I guess I'm okay. But my background, the reason I'm standing here today, has been very varied, if I can say that. Had an interest in Scripture, basically in reality, most of my life. Started out fairly young, getting involved with faith and religion. Come from a religious family background, Southern Baptist, and up through different things. Different groups, not going to mention the groups, but I guess about five or 6 years ago, we had just about had it with other people, misleading us and basically just wanting power and money. So we just said we had enough. And we just decided to get together as a family and start reading the Scripture. And the next thing we did, we had turned into a Bible study. Then from that, it turned into a TV program. And now here I'm on the radio. So been doing it for a while, trying to get myself out of the way and let the thought and the truth come through here. And it's I call True Bread a public service for I guess anyone who's interested. And we're going to discuss current events today, and like I said, the second part we will be talking about biblical doctrine. So, but let's just get started here. You know, we all know what's about to happen tomorrow, right? And in my opinion, just watching what's going on. I mean, this is not a political program. Let me say that right off the bat. I am apolitical. I do not vote. However, if you're going to come on the air, radio or TV, and you're going to talk about current world events, you're going to have to talk about politics, and the situation going on right now in D.C. is just out of control. And we all know I'm talking about the health care bill, which is trying to be rammed through Congress, and all kinds of unconstitutional maneuvering and just backdoor politics. Of course, you know the old joke about politicians, right? If they're moving their lips, right, they're lying with their teeth. Pretty much we all understand that. I don't trust any of them at all. But however, we do have a government, and they are trying to jam this health care bill through, and they're going to try to control you and me and take over this nation. And I'm trying to avoid the words I don't really want to say, but I don't want to be too strong here. But we're heading right to a Marxist dictatorship, and there's no doubt about it in my mind. And President Obama, the chosen one, he is running around and trying to say, oh, this is just great. Health care for everyone. Health care for everybody. It's the right thing to do. Of course, that's the hook, right? It's great for everybody. But what does Nazi Pelosi have to say, right? Well, you gotta pass the bill to see what's in it. Hey, look, lady, right? I want to know what's in the bill before you vote for it. You know, I mean, it's like, who do they think they're talking to, trying to tell us that, no, you can't see the bill until after you voted for it? We can all know, you can be guaranteed that there is more in this bill than just health care. And who is going to monitor and enforce the health care bill, right? The IRS. Now, as an American citizen, do you want the IRS up into your business and your health care and enforcing it, imposing this is just nothing but tax, is all it is. It's just more money for the government, and it's the government will take over. I mean, what have they taken over so far today, right? Banks, they own the banks. Step one, and this, I'm not being political here. This all started with George W. Bush, right, and it's carried out right through Barack Obama. He is doing nothing but continuing running the policies of George W. Bush, and anyone who has any brains at all can see that. If you do any investigation, that's one of the purposes of True Brit, is to expose these people for what they are, what they're doing. Now, a lot of things I would say, I have the freedom to come on here, which we're going to talk about in a second. A lot of things I say, I come on public access television, and I come on this radio station. I can say whatever I want to say, basically, because I'm an American citizen, and we have constitutional rights. And you got these clowns on AM radio or whatever, on cable news. They cannot dare bring you what I'm about to tell you, or they would be off the air instantly. So you don't follow these buffoons. I call them the stubborn, recalcitrant jackasses that they are. Don't follow these buffoons, these false prophets in this country, leading you down the primrose path to destruction. They do not know what they're talking about. They will not talk about the truth. They will not expose what you're going to hear here today and over the next 13 weeks. They can't do it because they'd be turned off just like that, and they know it. Of course, we got Pillsbury Doughboy right up there in New York. I'm going to mention his name. His initials are Glenn Beck, I think. But he is trying to take this movement, which I'm going to be up there today as well, Tea Party movement, we'll talk about that in a second if I get to it. He's trying to take credit for this action of this coming together, the spontaneous American reaction, and he's calling it his 9/12 movement. All he's trying to do is misdirect this American movement of freedom in this country, and trying to take credit for it and trying to calm it down. And that's just a ploy of the mainstream media to pretty much silence people like you and me. And the one thing that this government, the federal government and various organizations hate with a vile passion is for someone to come on the air and talk about reality and truth. And they will try to tamp that down. And they'll dare make the comparison that just by mentioning the Constitution, I'm a member of a vast right-wing extremist conspiracy, and that I'm dangerous, you know. And just because I happen to be white and male and conservative and traditional and have a Bible and the Constitution sitting right here on the desk with me, that I'm now a dangerous individual and I need to be locked up. And that's exactly what you had at Glenn Beck's mouth. He doesn't say that exactly, but that's what he tiptoes around that. And he's a very, very dangerous person in this country, misleading people, misdirecting the energies, and basically trying to co-opt the Tea Party movement and the End the Fed movement and everything else. So, but I just want to make a brief statement here, what I just mentioned, that we are in Ashland, Virginia. We are in Hanover County. And this county itself has played a tremendous role in the foundation of this entire nation. And right up the road from where we are is the home of Patrick Henry. He was born here, lived here, and he said, and as we all know the speech, he said, "You give me liberty or give me death." And that's what we're talking about here today, liberty or death. And on my television program, I'll normally start, and I'm going to do it here today. I've already mentioned the Constitution, and I'm able to stand here because if you want to come down here and have a radio program, you come down here and have a radio program. And if you want to get on public access television, you go down to Channel 95 and they'll put you on TV for free, and you can say whatever you want. And we have that right today, which we're probably not going to have very much longer. That's why I'm doing this now. The day is here and the time is now, as we say. We have constitutional rights. We have rights in the First Amendment. We have the Declaration of Independence that was written by Thomas Jefferson from Virginia, as we all know. But he said, I want to read here briefly from the Declaration. He said, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitled them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the cause which impelled them to the separation. He says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, which among those are what? Right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let me ask you a question here, okay? Is the IRS going to enforce life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness on you, or is it going to be misery, taxation, disaster, and death? You tell me. You tell me. And also in the Constitution, I'm not, like I said, I'm apolitical, and there's a lot in the Constitution that can be studied from different aspects, but normally when we say the Constitution, we're talking about the preamble of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. The body of the Constitution defines and describes the federal government, but we're going to look at the preamble. And we're going to look at the First Amendment today. And the preamble says, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to establish the Constitution of the United States. Liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Liberty doesn't mean vast right-wing extremist terrorism. It means freedom. It means the freedom to come on here and say what needs to be said. It means the freedom to go to the tea parties and to protest. Now, I'm not a Truebred. I don't want anyone to take me wrong here. We're absolutely positively nonviolent at Truebred. I'm not in any way, shape, or form discussing any kind of militia acts or violence. I'm just saying that the reason I'm reading the Declaration and the Constitution is, well, I have the freedom to do this right now. And I don't know how much longer we're going to have the freedom in this country to do these things. Right now we can peaceably assemble. Right now we can protest. However, they've been saying that if you are down at a tea party or a rally, well, the FBI is going to happen to be there and they're going to videotape everybody. Right? What are they videotaping people for? Am I committing a crime? Am I just standing somewhere? Now, I don't go to these protests and these rallies to actually protest against the government. I go there to document what is happening and watching the nation unravel right before my very eyes. And that's exactly what I'm going there today and tomorrow for. Because I think we're in very dangerous times. Very dangerous times. And I'm going to have some things to say about Barack here in a few minutes that are going to, well, let me just get to it when I get to it. But anyways, First Amendment of the Constitution says, and we all know it, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. 5 individual rights that we have. And if you do not cherish those rights, and you don't enact those rights, they may be taken away from you. And we have a duty to, as citizens, to exercise our rights. So that's a good review of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, and it's something that we all need to be familiar with. Because if you're not familiar with it, you're not going to have it. They're going to take it away from you. So, but about this health care and what Barack's doing, and it's not just Barack, right? It's Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, the whole cabal, as I call it. You know, you want to talk about a vast conspiracy, right? You know, it's not we the people that's carrying out the conspiracy. It's the federal government trying to impose a communist Marxist dictatorship on this nation. And they're not just trying. The proof is always in the pudding. Now, I'm not, like I said, I'm not just picking on Barack. This was started under the Bush administration, going way back. Way back. And on my videos, I have a lot to say about that situation. But Barack and Pelosi and Reid are trying to impose this bill because hidden, you can be sure, hidden in the bill are various controls and takeovers of the insurance company, of your medical records, of your personal life, your private life, and even so far as going as to the point of maybe even imposing chips on human beings with all the medical information. And if they have an excuse to put a chip inside your body and say, well, it's just medical information, you know they're going to have everything else on there. And let's just say eventually, well, you know, since you already have the chip in there, you know, we have your medical records, let's just go ahead and put your banking records on your chip. And tell you what, let's just go ahead and use the chip so you can have financial transactions. We're just going to go ahead and do away with cash. Okay? Now, what does that sound like what I just read, or what I just said? We're going to get to it. Second half, I have time. So I've noticed that time goes by rapidly when we're having these conversations. But they are trying to do away with cash. They are going to a cashless society. And basically what's going on is the bankers of Goldman Sachs, etc., the ones that are still here, are taking over this government. They own the politicians. They own Barack Obama. Who does Timothy Geithner work for? Or did, right? Who does Bernanke work for? Who did Henry Paulson work for? You know, all these people work for now in the government. Right? Goldman Sachs. A bunch of thieving banksters. And they know they're collapsing the economy. They're collapsing the economy on purpose. I just read that 7 banks were closed yesterday. That's over 30 this year alone. How many did we have last year? 140, 150? What these too big to fails are doing is they're consolidating these smaller banks, and they're just being gobbled up one after the other so they can control the financial system.
I apologize for not having any money.
Oh, no, I don't take money.
No, I mean, when I go to the store, I say, I give them this, I say, I don't have any real money,
Oh,
all
yeah,
I have
yeah.
the Federal Reserve note.
Yeah.
I think we ought to send the Federal Reserve a bill payable in silver and gold.
Be nice.
All right, welcome back to True Bread. My name is Todd. We're going to pick up with the second half here today. It's March 20th, 2010. Thanks for listening in. We would appreciate some phone calls. Calvin's aboard back there in the control room. I'd like to talk to you. So 798-1010. Give me a call. We're talking about the current world events, New World Order, communist Marxist dictatorship takeover, Barack Obama, Nazi Pelosi. I did say Nazi, right? Nazi Pelosi and Harry Reid trying to destroy your life via the IRS. And I'm not joking about what I'm saying here. I'm going to go to D.C. because I think this country is about to break apart. And there are a lot of things that I'm not going to say on this radio that I know, that I've watched, and people I've talked to. And they're just not going to take it anymore. I've got friends, I'm not going to discuss it, but I think I made my point. And people they're not just getting offended, okay? It's gone beyond the offend stage. I'm not trying to stir people up, I'm just talking about reality. This is what you watch on your nightly news. And that's why I tried to say earlier about freedom of speech. I do have the right to come on here and expose these rat people for who they are and what they're doing. And if they don't like it, too bad. I don't care. You're not going to stop me. I'm going to keep going as long as I can. That's one of the purposes of True Bread. And we're just going to expose you because the Scripture clearly says, I wrote it down, Revelation 18 verse 4, right? Revelation 18 verse 4. Come out of her, my people. Get out of it. We just talked about Federal Reserve notes. We want to get out of the Federal Reserve notes. Why are we off the gold and silver standard? I'll tell you why. Because they're a bunch of lying, thieving criminals. That's why. And what they're doing via the fiat currency is just like a wire conducting electricity. They're conducting all of your and my wealth away from us into them. And Mayor Rothschild said back in the 1800s, I believe, he said, I don't care who makes laws. You give me control of the money. That's all I'm worried about. You let me control the money, he doesn't care about the laws. Well, who's controlling the government? It's the bankers, the banksters, the gangsters, the thieves. So, but I could talk the next 5 hours straight on that. But I want to mention one thing I left off on the first half, and I'm going to go into doctrine. Revelation 13. I spent a tremendous amount of time on this verse. I've read the entire Bible. I've been through prophecy for years. Prophecy, in my mind, is boiling down to 2 chapters of Scripture. It's very clear. It's very simple. Matthew 24 and Revelation 13. It's all you need to understand. Revelation 13, 7 heads and 10 horns. For years we were lied to about this. And today people will not listen. I'm going to tell you what the 7 heads and 10 horns are. There's no doubt about it. It's simple-minded to see it. And what you get these people, I don't care if it's religious or politicians or whoever they are, it doesn't matter, just secular human beings. Christ said to like little children playing in the marketplace, right? But we sang to you and you didn't dance. You won't play with us. And, well, you know, they're just crying. Christ is saying like you're all a bunch of little children. You won't listen to reality. And this is not a religious program. This is a program about reality. And I'm going to tell you some reality in the second half and further down the road you probably have never heard before. But 7 heads, G7. There's no doubt in my mind at all. What did John see in Revelation 13, right? Did he see the little, like I say in my Bible studies, did he see the little baby beast grow up out of the sea? And it grew a head, and it grew another head, right? And he fed it puppy chow, like we say at home. No, he did not. He saw a fully, scratch that. I can't edit on radio, can I? Fully formed beast rise up out of the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns. The 7 heads are the G7, the global rulers of the G7, G8, and G20, but it's always comprised of G7. 7 heads. What has 7 heads? What do 7 heads do on the beast, right? They rule! So just plain as day. 10 horns. Now, this is where people may not have ever heard this, but the 10 horns, why would there be 10? 10 what? What do the 10 horns do? The 10 horns manage the planet under the 7 heads. They take directions. The horns don't rule the heads. The heads rule the horns. The 10 horns are the 10 zones of the Club of Rome. You can look it up. This whole planet's already been divided in 10 zones. North American Union, European Union, Asian Union, Pacific Union, Indonesia, I think there's one for Australia. There's 10 zones. If you want to go to my website, I can spell it all out for you there. 7 heads, 10 horns. It's here to deal with it as reality. And we are facing biblical prophecy. That's exactly what's happening right now today. This is not some kind of message for 3,000 years in the future or 2,000 years in the past. No, you're living in it and I'm living in it, and that's just the way that it is.